What made you say yes to something like Fallout?
You like working with me? I like working with Kyle MacLachlan. It's true. It's true. It actually really is true.
Power fist.
Oh yeah, that's a good one. Did you get that? Did you snag that? You need that on your. You need that on your.
Need that.
Desk.
Yeah. Why don't I have that?
All of us, I think. All of us need that.
I want you to get naked, sit by a pool, and smoke a cigarette. I'm like, hey man, I do that every day anyway.
The series has changed me because it's quite the challenge.
You know, we're gonna talk about Walton like he's not here. What?
Fallout, a Prime Video series, is based on a video game with the same name. And of course, the first season introduces us to the ecosystem. Now, the second season is less about survival, but more about choice, consequences, and power as well. We'll be joined by a lot of members of the cast, some of them virtually because of the snowstorm situation in the US. But it will be an interesting conversation. First, we have with us two lovely cast members with us, Kyle MacLachlan and Anabelle O'Hagan. A very warm welcome to NDTV. My name is Arun. My first question to you, sir. Now, you've done some of the iconic and, really tough characters in your career. And you've said that, now you choose projects very carefully. What made you say yes to something like Fallout?
Well, they asked me, which is always a good thing. That's a good place to start.
That is good.
I'm a huge fan of Jonah Nolan. Westworld was something that I watched from start to finish. I really enjoyed it. Graham Wagner is a writer that I knew, I was friendly with. Geneva, I did not know, but when I sat down with the three of them, we discussed what they were planning to do. I was so taken and so excited and so charmed. I hoped that it would go my way, and here I am. Lo and behold, they cast me as Hank.
Lovely. Anabelle, you're stepping into a series, a property which is already so popular. I'm going to ask the obvious question. Do you feel that pressure?
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. I was not a gamer growing up, but my brothers were. And when I told them that I got an audition for the show, it was like all of a sudden they were paying attention. They were like, what? A Fallout TV show? I was like, yeah, I don't know if you played the game. They're like, hold on a second. Like, this is a big deal. And I think from that moment, I realized that people feel very emotionally connected to it. Because in a video game, you're spending hours quite literally immersing yourself into that world and playing out, different actions in that world. And so it is personal. And I think I feel so lucky to be on this show with so many people who care so deeply about telling the story in a way that makes fans of the game proud and folks who have never interacted with the game before and introducing them to a really brilliant franchise.
Sure. Any on-set experience that, or a moment that will stay with you for a long time?
Oh, gosh. Some of my scenes with Ella Brunel, who plays my daughter Lucy, were really emotional. There was a real strong connection, particularly the final scene in episode 8 of season 2. But most of our scenes with her were just absolutely delightful. I really enjoyed some of the fun moments that we had in the first season as well. She's so available, so fun, so up for anything. Just a joy to work with her.
What about you?
Yeah, absolutely.
You like working with me?
I like working with
No, I'm
Kyle
just kidding.
MacLachlan. It's true. It's true. It actually really is true. And I will
Anything
say,
you discovered about him in the show, in the series, about the person that he is?
I mean, Kyle has done this job for a long time and has done some incredible pieces of work. And
but
it's not a but, it's an and. When I show up on set, because I'm still new to this, I am like, every day is Christmas. Like, this is the best job in the world. And one day on set, Kyle and I were about to walk through the airport together, and he looks over and he just goes, isn't this the best job in the world? And I was like, oh, he still feels that way about, and I feel that way. And so it was really amazing to work with someone who I've admired for a long time and to have him still enjoy it as much as I do. It's a really cool thing. Yeah.
Lovely. My last question. I'm taking cue from her. What makes you feel so excited about this job till date? And when you go out, meet your fans, shoot, what keeps you going?
Coffee. It's coffee. Yeah, it's coffee. I sometimes I think to myself, why do I love doing this? And I don't know why I love doing this, honestly, but it's creating something that I think is going to have an impact on someone who's watching, and investing everything I have in that, and doing the best that I can. Beyond that, it's working with really wonderful, talented people on the set, like Anabelle. I mean, everybody on this crew and the set, going to work is a pleasure. And so that just sustains the excitement, I think.
Hi, Aaron. This is Arun Singh from NDTV. A very warm welcome.
Thank you for having me here, brother.
I'm sure you're aware that you also have a separate, hate club on the internet. How do you react to that for your character?
Club? The hate club? I mean, well, I don't know. Maybe sometimes I think that a lot of those people are actually maybe very similar to Maximus, actually. There is old adages about like hating the thing that is most like you. I think what Graham and Geneva are creating in this show and Jonathan Nolan, it's a really hyper realistic character in Maximus. I have a lot of empathy for him. I have a lot of empathy for young men in the world that we live in today. I think we have very few rites of passage. When do you transition from a boy to a man? It's not when you have kids. It's we don't go to war anymore. And who looks after these young men? And we see what happens in the world. A lot of young men going out and doing horrible things. But I don't know. I think Maximus is in conversation with a lot of those things. You're not your worst decisions as a man. What do you do when you have no one to support you? Truly, and how do you make a life? How do you make a good life for yourself when everything is against you? You're born into it almost,
Right.
It's not your own choice.
Right. You've worked on 2 seasons. Has that changed you as an actor? Has that changed your perspective? Because, it's an extensive series.
Oh, sort of. But maybe it's made me a little more magnified on the things that I enjoy about the work and why I'm here. What I'm actually interested in every day. Because I think if anything, the series has changed me because it's quite the challenge. Every season is a big hike. You know what I mean? It's a whole rock wall to scale that we all have to do together, and it takes so much collaboration. So it's, if anything, it's made me magnify what I really love about the work and how I take it into other jobs and also how I really love that collaboration. If anything, working with so many people on a job like Fallout, it really makes me cherish those relationships.
Sure. My last question. Yours is an intense character. Is there a process that you take to reset yourself as a person after your shoot or work?
Oh yeah, I clear out is what I call it. I learned it at Juilliard. I think there aren't too many things that I put a lot of belief in, but I do think energy is a real thing. And I clear out. I come home. I see my children. They don't care too. They clear me out all the time. My kids don't care. I'll be like, I had to kill somebody at work today, and they'll be like, I'm hungry. It's important, I think, to take care of yourself, especially physically and mentally, so you can do it again.
Sure. Thank you very much.
No, thank you, brother.
Now with us, Geneva and Jonathan, a very warm welcome. They're executive producers. Of course, it's an exciting season. All of us are absolutely excited. In an interview, I think you said that taking the series to New Vegas has been a bit challenging. Can you share what challenge did the production really bring with the season 2?
Well, it's been simultaneously exciting and challenging, right? Because we're getting to bring to life so many fan favorite environments, creatures, factions. But of course, it's also one that is a game that is very fresh in the memory of many, many fans. And they remember often every last detail of every location from the game. And so we have strived as hard as we possibly could to get them right.
Right. There's so many interesting props as well. Do you have any specific or any favorite prop that you really like?
This season, I loved the tiny little office environment for the mice. I thought that was delicious fun. And I don't know if the Deathclaw counts as a prop. That feels disrespectful to a very scary, very powerful creature. But yeah, but it'll be like somewhere in between those two.
What about you?
Power Fist.
Oh yeah, that's a good one. Did you get that? Did you snag that? You need that on your. You need that on your desk.
Yeah, why don't I have that?
All of us, I think, all of us need that.
I need to get better
about room. Yes, it's gonna come with you.
I need to get better about stealing props.
Having an ensemble cast is also a big challenge. Can you take us through the challenges that you faced having an ensemble cast?
ensemble storytelling is fascinating and fun. I mean, I started my career as with Geneva's. We both started in the movies, which is a very different way of telling stories. And so the challenge coming into television, it's a very different way of spooling out a story. And some of the best shows, are and the first one that I worked on was Westworld, have this ensemble storytelling mechanic, sort of an omnibus ensemble storytelling format, which is pretty much, if you look at HBO, like all of the HBO shows over the years, for the most part, the best of those shows have been ensemble. What's cool about it, and what I thought was brilliant, and this is one of the things that Geneva, one of the mysteries that you cracked almost immediately in the development of the show, was if you take a game, the whole premise of which is that you can be anyone. And I think for most of us, the first hour on Fallout is spent designing your own character and figuring out, what do you look like? But even from then, nothing is written. Are you the bad guy, the good guy? Are you somewhere in between? So the ensemble format was such a brilliant way to allow three characters at first, and the ensemble kind of grows, but three core characters who represent different paths the players can take when they play these games. So I thought it was a brilliant solution, and it has its own unique challenges in terms of writing them.
Lovely. Last question. One moment from this season that stays with you or is going to stay with you for long?
I think when Steph's mom tells her, don't think of them as human beings, think of them as Americans.
Any onset experience or moment that will stay with you?
Oh, the last scene between Lucy and Hank, Ella and Kyle. I'm a parent. We all have families, and I think that dynamic of loving someone but wanting to change them, wanting to control them is such a fascinating and paradoxical idea. I just thought that moment was incredibly emotional.
Thank you very much for talking to us.
Oh, got it.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thank you. Joining me now, Francis Turner and Walton Goggins. A very warm welcome to both of you. We'll start with you, Mr. Goggins. On a lighter note, how long do you get ready? How long does it take for you to get ready?
It started off as 5 hours, and we got it down to about 2 hours and 15 minutes. So we've manageable time.
Lovely. And fun fact, you shoot with the nose actually, and then they do it. I mean, they handle it in the post-production.
They can't. I won't let them cut it off. I have it in my contract that they can't actually take a scalpel to my nose. It's the one thing I really like about myself. But no. They do it in post. It's an arduous process. Don't get me wrong. I mean, it is a psychological minefield. Every single day I go through that experience. And it takes about, getting to work about 2.5, 3 hours before anybody else gets there. Usually it's just me and my guy, Jake Garber, in the room. But you know what? I bought the ticket, and so you take the ride, and I'm grateful to have an opportunity to tell the story.
But it helps when you look at yourself in the mirror. It helps when you have the nose.
Well, I mean, I never really thought about this until an interview earlier this year where I don't have a problem with it because it's my nose. There are dots on it. I'm not looking at my face, right? I'm not thinking about my face, but other people are, And I asked, Ella and Aaron and a few other folks, like, does it bother you to look at my nose with dots on it? And I think everything else is so terrifying that they just overlook the nose.
Lovely. Francis, your character comes to terms to the truth of the character in the second season. Does that lead you to play it a little differently?
No, it doesn't, because in season one, I always thought that there was more to her than just solely being the mom and the wife. I always felt that there was a reason that her job was so important to her. I mean, and she says it, she's trying to get them into one of the good vaults. So that's established really early. And I just kind of followed what the writing was telling me, right? And not second guessing it or not judging Barb or not disbelieving her. Because even if she was not telling the truth, well, I'm not going to play her not telling the truth. She believes that she's telling the truth. And as we learn more about her from her point of view in season 2, we see the truth of what she's dealing with. So nothing changed about the way I played her, but I was able to kind of play in more with what's on her shoulders, the weight of everything on her shoulders, because we're then seeing it in season 2.
And it's an intense show. Is there any on-set memory that will stay with you for a very long time?
Everyone is operating at such a high level on our show, from the cast, everybody on the crew, all of the departments, our writers. So it's just being in the worlds every day, I feel like, is a gift. One of my favorite scenes to shoot was all of our scenes in the hotel room when Coop and Barb kind of finally had that confrontation, and just, we're going to talk about Walton like he's not here, but I mean, just the it's just really working with Walton, the presence he comes into a scene with, the vulnerability and all of the things that are operating at the same time. It was really fun for me as Barb to have to affect him in that way, to have to affect him and really stand up to him to say, wouldn't you do this for our daughter? And then the irony is he spends 219 years essentially taking down everything in his path to find his daughter. So in a lot of ways, they're opposite sides of the same coin in different timelines.
Do you
And
have to respond to that? Do you want to respond to that?
reaction from, and you saw the emotion in her eyes, man. Come on. She respects this story, or a story, and the way that I do, right? And going to work is a privilege, it's not a right. And you show up with everything you have every day. And that's what Frances does. And I to add to what Frances said, the amount of energy that it takes to move this ball forward every single day from every single department on that set and off that set, in front of and behind that camera, is enormous. It's Sisyphus. Really, it's crazy, because you think if you take your hands off of it for a second, the ball's going to roll right back down the hill, and nobody takes their hand off, and everybody is pushing at the same time. That's something I think that we will all have with us forever.
My last question to you, acting can get taxing on your emotional being. So how do you reset?
Well, for me, it's I don't take it home. I don't take it home, and also like stepping into Barb. It's fun for me, even with all the complicated emotions. That's a playground for me. So when I unwind, I usually just listen to some music, or I move around a lot to just move whatever energy around. But yeah, playing her does take a lot of emotional energy, but to me that is the thing that we are blessed to do.
Glass of wine and Otis Redding.
Yeah, I love that process as well. My last question to you, Mr. Goggins, you recently, I'm shifting gears for this one, but you recently had a Bear It All photo shoot as well. Is there any anecdote that you can share, something that you find, challenging about that, or was it fun?
The nude GQ shoot that I did recently.
Yeah.
Because I've done a couple. Yeah. Is there a story behind it? Probably that I was insecure about my body because I had broken my rib on this trip across Mongolia with my son. And the producer of that, a guy named George Cortina, who's like a bit of a legend, an old friend of mine. I said, "Hey man," he just said, "Listen to this. This is my idea. I want you to get naked, sit by a pool, and smoke a cigarette." I'm like, "Hey man, I do that every day anyway. But right now, man, I got a broken rib and I haven't had a chance to even move my body, let alone, I don't know that I can really do that." And he lifted up my shirt and said, "You're fine." So
Lovely. It was quite endearing to see the response that you generated. Back home, we have an actor, Singh. He also did something similar. But of course, it created quite an uproar in the country that, how can he bear it all? But it's good and endearing to see how your pictures generated a good response.
say yes in life more than you say no. Ask for forgiveness later.
Love that. Love that. On that note, thank you very much to both of you.
Yeah.
Thank
This
you.
was quite an insightful conversation. Thank you very much. This is Arun Singh signing off for NDTV.